Hi. So I think I'm going to get started. It's 7:03. So I need to start, of course, by acknowledging the traditional owners of the unceded land on which we meet tonight here in Sydney, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and all of the traditional owners of all the lands around Australia that people are zooming in from, of course. I'd like to also pay my respects to their elders, past, present and future, and acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders with us tonight. Hopefully some of our Narraburria friends might join us. So this little event tonight is to celebrate our 25th birthday, which is today, 25 years ago, and it will last about 75 minutes. Hopefully you can stay around to the end because it's going to be kind of quite short, about the same amount of time as the Art Music Awards last night. And we put this together in the times of COVID to celebrate our 25th birthday, of course. We couldn't really do much else, but we wanted to connect with you guys, our supporters, our collaborators, and our audiences and colleagues. So it's the first time we've done anything like this. As I said before, we're zooming in from Musica Viva headquarters in Zetland. So thanks so much to Musica Viva for having us. It's going to be a casual vibe, a little bit of housekeeping. You can ask questions and put your comments in the chat section. So type them in, and there'll be times throughout the night where the lovely Alexis will be reading out your comments and your chat, and you can chime in as well if it's appropriate. Please stay on mute unless you're talking or you're sort of asked to talk, because there's quite a few people in our Zoom meeting tonight. Keep the video on if you can, because it's really nice to see your faces. We recommend speaker view, but you can also put it on gallery view and move between them. And you can put in a request in the comments as well for a bit of a sharing of a memory, or if you want to say something at some point, because as I said, we've got a couple of moments in the evening. Now, with us tonight we have hopefully all of our core members. I don't know if they're all with us right now, but I know we have Lamorna Nightingale on my right, Jason Noble on my left, and then we've got Blair Harris coming from Melbourne in lockdown. Do you want to say hi, Blair?
Hi, everybody. So nice to be here.
And we have Zubin Kanga from London.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here.
And we've got Ben Kopp from the Blue Mountains.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
And we've got Veronique Serre. I don't know if she's with us quite yet. Vera, are you there? No.
She has ACO, yes.
Oh, that's right. She's coming at the end. Yes.
Special
right.
guest appearance.
Yeah, if we're lucky. And then we've also got some past. Oh, well, Roland Peelman, of course. I can see Roland up in the left. Hi, Roland. And we've also got some past. Well, they're not just some. We've got three very important past founders, I guess you could call them. We're welcoming in the amazing Roger Woodward from San Francisco, 2 a.m. San Francisco time. And I'm going to ask Roger a few questions about the early days of Ensemble Offspring. And I'd also like to bring into the conversation the wonderful Damien Ricketson, who everyone knows, who is, of course, the whole reason that we're sitting here today. He put in the hard yards. And Matthew Shlomovitz, the other founding person for Ensemble Offspring, all the way from London. Welcome, Roger, Damien, and Matt.
Yay.
Do you want to say hi so we can get you on speaker view?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Roger.
Hi. So great to see everyone.
Hi, Matt, you there?
I'm here. Hello.
Great. So, Roger, this is Roger's first time on Zoom, and it's 2 a.m. in San Francisco. So he gets the big gold star for giving up his night, his sleep for us. And I wanted to ask Roger, who is, of course, a very famous Australian pianist and the founder of the Sydney Spring International New Music Festival in 1990. Ensemble Offspring, we had our first gig, we were called the Spring Ensemble then, in your amazing festival in 1994. Was this the first year that you had young musicians from the con involved in the festival? And how did it come about from your perspective?
No, it was Damien and Matt had works premiered the year before, but the memorable concert with everybody with the debut of the Sydney Spring Ensemble was in 1995, and then exactly 2 years later sprung percussion in September I think it was September the 8th for the Sydney Spring Ensemble, and then it was September the 12th for the 2 years later for Sprung Percussion. They're amazing musicians. It was a great privilege to work with such an incredible talent, and it's the wrong word to say talent, but people who are so ridiculously gifted around me. I was able to learn a lot, and working with them was a very great privilege. And it was absolutely clear their works, Damien's works and Matt's works, that dominated the program in together with the work of Xenakis. They were clearly destined for great things, and it's wonderful. And to see you all doing such wonderful things now, that's
thanks, Roger. Would you say...
Congratulations, Matt and Damien.
Thank you.
All of you, and thank you for taking part in this spring, and for the rotten fees we gave you at the time. Thank you for being so.
Would you say, Roger, that there was anything particularly special about the kind of energy coming out of the con at that time? Like, was it something that you'd experienced before?
Well, energy goes in cycles. In London, when I founded the London Music Digest, I was determined to do something in Oz, because I thought that one gets tired sitting in Australia hearing about how marvelous it is somewhere else. And I thought it might be a good idea to establish a forum which brought everybody together. So the idea of, I think Geoffrey Blaney put it much better with the tyranny of distance, but I grew up as a student at the con, very much a part of the post-Goossens euphoria. And I immediately established, as soon as I got my diploma in 1963, 1863, to do something about bringing other. We were a long way away from everyone else, and the tyranny of distance, etc., etc. So I founded the Sydney International Piano Competition in order to bring young pianists, and so we could meet our peers and so on and so forth. I developed that project till 1975. Then 1974, there was another burst of energy with young musicians around me, and I began bringing, I brought Kathy Berberian and Luciano Berio and Yuji Takahashi and some other friends, and to an organization called Music Rostrum Australia. And it was an attempt to make a change. Then that was 1973, the year the Opera House opened. And then 1989, I redeveloped that together with Trish. We worked together at it. And it was very easy because you were all so brilliant. And it was one of the good things, though, was to, I'd learned a few tricks by then, to have the radio station, with the ABC, and then the fundraisers, and the university in this triangle, which everybody worked together and helped each other. And It was a lot of hands made light work for me, but there's just so many people to thank for this. We had an illustrious membership. Probably every major composer in the world got behind the Sydney Spring, and Xenakis even paid his membership fee. I remember at the time, and Boulez would say, "How are things going?" and Elliot Carter, and so we had everybody wanted this to succeed, and it ended up that a lot of people came to Australia, and Australians were able to premiere their works alongside legends. And that was the purpose of the Spring. It was time to move on in 2001. And the Offspring, in the middle of that, I could see that it was necessary for something to overlap my own plans. And then when I met Shlomowitz and Ricketts and Meadowcroft and a few others, Katja Chitunanik, Elena Katz-Chernin. There was so many wonderful composers. I realized they would want to put their own stamp on things and go their own way, and that's the right way to do it. It was hilarious when they called their ensemble Offspring. It was we cried with laughter. It was such a funny, but it was absolutely, it was so apt, and the standards were so incredibly high that they established. It was the right way for everything to go. So I went off and did something else, and I miss you all, and I miss those concerts. Some of the nights were just incredibly exciting. I remember.
Thank you, Roger.
Big percussion concerts.
Yeah.
Claire strutted his stuff. It was tremendous. I know it was something. I prefer from all of those halls. I mean, we were given the art gallery at the time because there was nowhere else to go. Then we moved to Eugene Goosens Hall and eventually the Opera House. But I still prefer the Eugene Goosens Hall from all those. Even though CD, but we were able to get very good recordings because of Ralph Lane, who was did a tremendous job recording. He recorded every single concert for 12 years, 89 to 2001. That was 1990 to 2001. But the ABC Classic FM, every single concert was
amazing.
I know, really, really tremendous. And,
I'd like to bring in Matt and Damien now and just ask them, how the heck did you get to be bolshy enough to propose your own music as like a 3rd or 4th year composition student to Roger Woodward, the very famous pianist?
It was all Damien.
Look, I was just in response to Roger. I know as a young composition student at the Con, you know, those Sydney Spring Festivals were huge in terms of, you know, just being connected to the international scene and what was new and what was fresh. And in particular, I do talking percussion concerts. I remember vividly as a student going to one of the Amadinda percussion concerts at then the New South Wales Art Gallery. And I think that was the seed for the idea of approaching Sydney Spring. And I know that Matthew and I were keen to, we were in our final year and we wanted to put on a concert, a bit like the performance students at the Con got to have a sort of graduation event that sort of really marked their conclusion of their studies. And we didn't have something similar for composers. And so we decided we just wrote down every name of every performer friend we could think of who had shown any vague interest in new music, and that was pretty much the ensemble that we got, and we both agreed to write for a very similar lineup of instruments. And yeah, I mailed a letter to Roger, and to think that sorry, a letter, no emails back then. But to think that the artistic director will take on, you know, as of yet unwritten works completely composed and performed by students is quite incredible in many ways. But I think it's nice to notice that that kind of risk is so necessary, because that's what gives birth to young aspiring musicians to actually give that kick start to a career, which is very much what's happened with the whole Ensemble Offspring project at large. And so that was such a valuable opportunity in that regard. And also the other, I think, great thing that Roger did with that first concert is slip in Xenakis, because originally it was just going to be a Matthew and I gig. But of course, we were thrilled to be on the same program with Xenakis. But I think that also set the tone for the ensemble, that was never going to be like a Philip Glass ensemble or something that only played the music of its founding composers, but was always going to mix up new works by those who did have an invested interest in the group, as well as seminal works of the time. So yeah, thank you, Roger.
It was a great pleasure.
We should say not just as an Arcus piece, but like a kick-ass 25-minute piece for piano and brass quintet. I mean, it was amazing.
Yes. A work that had been declared impossible, but a group of undergrad con students tackled them together with Roger and did well.
Damien, I might just butt in. Hi everyone, I'm Alexis and I do production for Ensemble Offspring. I just wanted to share with you a message that Hilary Kleinig, I think you accidentally sent this one to Ensemble Offspring, but you said, love this idea, Damien, of the importance of ADs taking risks of the unknown to give birth to new ideas and new entities. And I thought that was really lovely. So I thought I'd just share that one with you.
Thank you, Alexis.
Thank
you.
Hilary.
I would just like to ask, before we move on to our first video of the night, just ask Matt whether he has any kind of specific or funny or embarrassing memories of that first year, other than your cardigan, of course.
That's very sweet of you, Claire. I've still got that cardigan.
Do you?
It's a comfort cardigan. Anyway, it's it's 25 years ago, and I'm a bit embarrassed as a middle-aged guy how bad my memory is. So it's already. I wish I was saying something at the end, because Roger and Damien are already sort of triggering memories which I'd forgotten, which is nice. Thank you for the nice words too, Roger. My memory of the first concert was just, it was just, we didn't expect the Goosens to be full, and that was amazing and overwhelming. And Damien, in addition to the Xenakis, Damien wrote this just fantastic trumpet concerto for Corrado Palesci.
You know, they played that on ABC Classic FM tonight, Damien.
Really?
Yeah, I was doing an interview and they played it. Not the whole thing, but God, it sounded good.
It really is another kick-ass piece.
I also remember an incredible string quartet from you, Matthew. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, the back padding could go on all night.
I can balance it out by saying that one of the Sydney reviewers described my piano concerto as being sprawled out like warm jelly.
Was that, Matt, was that Tonya Lamo who played that? Was she the soloist?
She was the soloist, yeah, she was fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Matt. We're going to move on now to our first video of the night, which is actually, and obviously everyone should stay with us. There's lots of fun stuff to come. This is Damien Rickettson's little head again, talking about the very beginning of Ensemble Offspring.
Hi, Damien here to wish Ensemble Offspring congratulations on reaching a quarter century. So that means it's now over 25 years since I sent an awkward letter to Roger Woodward suggesting that his next Sydney Spring Festival should include a program of yet-to-be-written works composed and performed entirely by unknown students. I mean, who would take that on? But amazingly, he agreed to it, and that's how the ensemble began. So with Claire's blessing, I am about to try and charge through 25 personal memories, disasters, little-known facts about the ensemble, one for every single year of the ensemble's existence. So let's go. Memory number 1, 1995. My first flashback here is probably the sensation of utter terror as I took my seat in a packed-out Eugene Goosens Hall in the ABC Centre as 20-odd performer friends from the con took to the stage under the name Spring Ensemble. Only 2 of these musicians are still core members today, one of whom is its current artistic director. Did you know that Claire and Ensemble Offspring share the same birthday? Memory number 2, 1996. The then Spring Ensemble scored a gig with the city of Sydney in an initiative called Chew. I still don't know what it means, but it involved us doing a giant outdoor version of Terry Riley's In C for our white-collar workers as a lunch break concert in Martin Place. Needless to say, it absolutely bucketed down, and to this day it might be the only gig that we've ever abandoned partway through a performance. Memory number 3, 1997. This one's actually a deferred memory from Matthew Shlomowitz, who was leading the group at the time. Spring Ensembles presented a concert under the baton of Michael Finnessy, the UK composer, as part of the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras. One of the musicians recounted being absolutely perplexed by the complex rhythmic notation, to which Finnessy responded, "It's just 3/4, darling, but a little bit faster." Memory number 4, 1998. Look, to be honest, I struggle to remember much from these early years other than doing a lot of unpaid performances in cold, dusty churches and community halls to rather small audiences. So let's keep moving. Memory number 5, 1999. Look, I do remember a sensation of euphoria and optimism when taking to stage to unveil our new name, Ensemble Offspring, in the newly opened Sydney Opera House venue, The Studio, a new and dedicated home for new music. Needless to say, it didn't really last like this for very long. Memory number 6, 2000. This was the year we did our first ever domestic tour to Perth in return for a free lunch on the Swan River. I remember a performance at Pika and being particularly moved by the musicians' version of George Crumb's Vox Balenee. Memory 7, 2001. Again, I have memories of returning to the studio at the Opera House in a program of new Finnish music. Our then clarinetist David Bull broke his arm on the morning of the gig, and Diana Springford stepped in to effectively sight read an insane Fernio-esque piece by a young Finnish composer, Johan Tallgren, who had come all the way to Sydney for the event. I have to say, near disasters sear themselves perhaps more strongly in my memory. Memory number 8, 2002. I really remember our program Spectral Geysers in the Paddington Uniting Church. I'm pretty sure this was the first Australian performances of many works such as Griset's Talia. I mean, this is virtuosic, exhilarating music and went on to be programmed repeatedly in the years to come. Memory 9, 2003. This was our first ever international tour, with our highlight being in the Warsaw Autumn Festival. I do have recollections of this incredible serene calm just before we were about to walk onto stage, when the clarinetist, Jason Noble, realised that he'd left his reeds in the hotel. You can imagine the stress that ensued, although all ended well. Memory number 10, 2004. Again, we got ourselves back into the Opera House with a half program of some early Philip Glass. But of course, rights to perform these works were still with the Philip Glass Ensemble, and the scores had been completely lost. So amazingly, I managed to negotiate with the publisher to recreate the notation, and Ensemble Offspring was one of the first ever groups outside of the Philip Glass Ensemble to perform some of this early work.
Thank you, Damien. That was great. So I'm just going to throw over to Alexis Weaver, who has a special guest with something to say.
Okay, hi guys again. So we've got lots of comments coming in. First of all, I just want to shout out to Janine Marshman, who said, still my favourite photo of Damien. Not sure which one she was talking about there. We have Jason Catlett, who said Kathy Barbarian. totally amazing soprano, also a composer. But Annie Hino is saying on behalf of Andrew Ford, I'd like to say a quick word because I'll have to go very soon. So Andrew, do you want to step up? I'll unmute you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I feel like one of those idiots in the House of Lords. It's lovely to be here and it's lovely to see everybody. Amazing turnout. I've got to go and do something in a moment for the music show. But I just wanted to say that the thing about Ensemble Offspring, and Damien kind of already hinted at it when he said that, you know, we didn't just perform my music and Schlong, but also Offspring didn't just perform that generation's music or that nationality's music. It performs everything. And it's really unusual in that regard, because most contemporary music ensembles either play minimalist music or really, really complex music, or you know, it's a huge range that Offspring does, from the fastest to the slowest to the simplest to the most complicated. And in that regard, it's an absolute example to us all, I think, because Offspring really represents what it means to be in contemporary music in the early 21st century, that it's a huge, broad church of sound, and Offspring plays the lot. That's all I really wanted to say. Happy birthday, and happy birthday, Claire.
Thank you. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Andy. Awesome. Okay, Alexis, were there any more comments or...
I will just check. Yeah, so Jason Catlett a little bit earlier, I think when Roger Woodward was talking, was asking if there were any stories about Luciano Berio in Australia.
Roger. I know there's some Donatoni stories. Can you unmute Roger, Alexis?
Yep.
There's so many people, it's amazing. I can't even... So Roger, here we go. Oh, there we go.
Okay, is that right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Good. Kathy and Luciano had a terrible fight in a taxi, and they were threatening. Berio stopped the taxi at one stage and said, stop insulting my country and stop insulting me and so on. They got out of the taxi, and I think he was going to walk to the airport, or he was anywhere away from. The whole thing was just a catastrophe. She lost her voice, and we had to put on the recording and mime the performance of Sequenza 3. It was but sometimes very good things come from the very worst circumstances, and you make do with what you have. And I think back at others who formed ensembles in difficult circumstances. For example, Bach, with the ensemble that had been around since 1479, which Telemann asked him to direct from 1743. And it was just made up of amateurs with goodwill in the town, and half the orchestra was students. And he made a good job of it, so apparently. But
that's like us.
Well, yeah, you look about and take the wonderful talents of the time and create something that's memorable.
Great, thanks Roger. We're going to keep on moving. I'm not sure if Damien Barbala is with us right now. I think he might not be, but we're now going to play a little short showreel video of a care packages little project we did, I guess you would call it, as part of Hibernation Festival, which was a festival that Damien Barbala and a few other amazing young people put together when COVID sort of first happened. And basically Damien came up with this idea of getting composers from around Australia and the world actually to play, to write little pieces for us, and they would also send us actual packages that we would have to read and play, and we would do this simultaneously with Roland Peelman directing us. So some of you might have seen it live, but I feel like this little highlights reel kind of shows very well, and it's very beautifully put together by Damien Barbala, what the project was like, and I felt like it was a very special and very timely project for us this year.
Well, it's 6 o'clock, and here I am, feeling very lonely, I must say, all by myself with a little box in front of me. This little box arrived yesterday, by the way. So, and this is to say that you are welcome to Ensemble Offspring's Care Package
Cheers, everyone.
project.
Hello, everyone at home.
Okay, so
Personally done, but given that this box arrived yesterday, I've been very curious about what's in, of course. It's pretty much midwinter here in Sydney, here in Australia, so it feels a little bit like Christmas. I think we better start.
It's a great pleasure. Enjoy.
That I bring you this musical care package.
Filled the folio with one of my favourite things.
I care.
We'll open, play, explore, and perform. It's like a jewelry box.
Breathe audibly.
This care package
Many times.
contains
Mine is Monopoly-based.
Number one,
Game.
surprise, here's your instrument
Now
for the
take a deep
evening.
breath, cleansing breath, a deep cleansing breath.
This paper in particular, it's really nice to feel.
And I'm not quite sure what to do with the game, to be honest. But as we get through, find some ways to...
Movement 2.
Explore the long skinny box.
Really enjoying the brownie assembly.
Translation is a mode. Das Englisch, das heißt nicht. Ihre Übersetzung.
One of these experimental.
The original and this itself of life. With the phenomenon
about those memories
of life.
What a little drawing there in the front. Thanks, Alice.
Thank you very much. I'm signing off in Kanga in London.
Thanks for watching.
and we care about each other.
What?
Thank you. Once again. Perhaps next time we meet, it won't be Christmas. It might just be normal time.
Thank you to Roland for those extremely pertinent words. I love.
We're up to normal time.
Yeah, we're not quite up to normal time, but I think we're all looking forward to normal time. Roland, would you like to say something? Were you told to say that, or did you make it up? Oh, he's on mute. I'll unmute you, Roland. You have to unmute yourself, Roland. Yeah.
Hey, I'm here. I'm here. No, one of my last instructions in the package, you know, was to write a letter. To write a letter, and I made up the letter, and I read the letter as I was writing it. I had no idea what I was going to write, but I thought it was the most beautiful instruction to write a letter, because we don't write letters anymore. And when Damien just said how he wrote a letter to Roger saying, you know, how it would be a really great idea to, you know, to use the students from the con to get his festival, to give his festival a bit of relevance, he wrote a letter. And the letter had an effect. And here we are, 25 years later. You see what a single letter can do.
Thank you, Roland. Well said, as always. Okay, so just to keep things moving, we're going to do a little memory from Lamorna and Jason and Bree, although I'm not sure whether Bree is with us. Bree? I think she might be putting her daughter Claude to bed right now, but we'll bring her in when she comes in. But for now, I would like to ask Lamorna and Jason. I'm going to start with Jason. What was your first concert with Ensemble Offspring, and what is your favourite memory from that time?
Well, actually, it's interesting watching that video we just saw then, Claire, because I think, like that gig, the Hibernation Festival, exactly like the first gig I played in 2003, I had no idea what I was getting into, or putting myself in for. Just like this Hibernation Festival gig here. I actually first played with Offspring in 2003. At that time, I worked in a rival. I think worked is kind of loose because I don't think we were really paid anything.
No, we weren't paid.
But there was a group called Coruscations, who many of you will know at that time. Composers like Matthew Heinsohn, Paul Stanhope have gone on to sort of forge really famous careers, I'd say. So I sort of worked with them more. And I was always admiring Ensemble Offspring's intelligence and something about their programming, but I was a bit daunted by some of the repertoire, to be honest. But then anyway, Damien, at that time I was working at the Sydney Conservatorium of Music, and Damien came to my office at that time and asked me if I would go on this tour to Warsaw. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I think at the time I was good friends with David Bull, clarinet player, who Claire you're quite good friends with as well, and not here, but and also I played a lot with the flautist at that time, Kathleen Gallagher, who was a wonderful flautist and who played in Coruscations and Ensemble Offspring. And so that's sort of how I got my name got put forward. And before I knew it, I think a month later, I was on a plane all the way to Warsaw. And I think, Roger, that was your link as well. I think you somehow got us that gig at the Warsaw Autumn Festival. So we had this amazing tour. We toured to London, we toured to Amsterdam. And I think
I was there.
You came to our concert in Amsterdam.
Because I was studying in Holland at the time.
No percussion in that concert,
No.
which was great. And then we also went to Warsaw, played at the beautiful, that concert hall in Warsaw at the Conservatorium, the Chopin Conservatorium, I think it's called. This amazing hall to play in. And as Damien said before, yes, I forgot my reeds, and 5 minutes before we were about to go on, I had to run back to the hotel. I remember at that time we played some music of Damien's, so his trace elements. We played some Dominic Karski, as well as some Michael Finnessy. We played one of his pieces in that gig as well. Yeah, so that was my first gig, and at that time Jeff Gardner, another name that many of you would know, and he was also a really central figure with Ensemble Offspring. So it was Jeff Gardner, Mark Schnoop on piano, myself, Kathleen Gallagher, and Damien was with us as well. So yeah, kind of an odd collection of somewhat odd musicians.
But a successful tour.
It was a successful
And
tour.
it took us a while to get back to Europe after that tour.
Yeah, but I think it was great for Poland to hear some Australian music. And Damien, I think you'd probably agree with Trace Elements is one of your probably more obscure works. And they're probably thinking, what is this Australian music?
Damien, you can just do like thumbs up or down. Okay, talk.
Yes.
Okay, over to Lamorna. What's your first Ensemble Offspring experience?
Well, my first Ensemble Offspring experience that I remember anyway, I'm sure I must have gone to some gigs before this, but I do remember going to a party at the Peggy Glanville Hicks house when Damien was the composer in residence there, and having quite a long conversation with Claire, I think maybe Damien was there as well, about how they were looking for a new flute player and whether I could put them in touch with Emma Scholl, who was the new flute player with the SSO. And I remember saying to them, oh yeah, sure, I can put you in touch with Emma, you know, I know her quite well, but I'm not really sure that this is her bag, but you know, sure. You can. And I said, and if it doesn't work out with Emma, then, you know, I'm around, I'm kind of keen. So anyway, Emma couldn't do it. So I got the call, and this afternoon I thought I'd kind of try and work out what my first gig actually was, and so I went through some old programs and found this one, which was the Eggs and Baskets show.
That was with Damien Barbala.
With Damien Barbala.
He had a dryer or a washing machine in one of the pieces.
What year was that, Lamorna?
Oh, we never put the years on our programs.
Well, it could have been 2006.
Yeah, maybe. Damien, can you remember when it was? Don't worry.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, quite interesting that Damien Barbala was diploblastic.
Yeah.
For violin, marimba and home appliance. And of course, this year, one of the highlights of my year was doing a hibernation festival gig with Damien Barbala with our dryer.
And Lamorna featured on the hose as well. Garden hose yes. With water. Yeah, that was my favourite.
But probably my favourite gig from that first year was playing Morton Feldman's Crippled Symmetry with Claire and Zubin. I think it might have been Zubin's first gig as well.
Zubin?
Can I see you? Anyway, this epic piece of a style of music that I'd never really come across ever before, like 90 minutes worth of constant long notes and bass flute, and I think I actually even bought a bass flute to do that.
Yeah, I think you did.
So I showed a bit of commitment, I think.
Yeah.
And
okay.
It's been fun times ever since.
Well, we're going to keep on moving now. Thanks, Lamorna. And we'll bring Bree in the next little chat. But we just wanted to play you a performance which probably many people haven't seen. It's a little kind of 3-minute excerpt of a section of Alex Pozniak's epic piece En Masse, which was I think it was our last live performance this year in February before everything went to shit. And it was at Phoenix Central Park, which is Judith Nielsen's amazing new venue. And we were the first people to perform in this wonderful space. So this is 3 minutes, a highlight of Alex Pozniak's En Masse. Okay, well, that was just a little taster of a really phenomenal piece by Alex Posniak. Hi, Alex, I think you're there somewhere. And we're about to release a recording which we made with Bob Scott at 3:01 of that piece, and a couple of others by Holly Harrison and Thomas Meadowcroft in about a month. So keep an eye out for that.
But you can watch the whole thing.
Oh, you can watch the whole concert on the Phoenix Central Park YouTube page. YouTube channel, sorry. Okay, so we're going to now go across to, do we have Bree with us yet by any chance? Or Veronique? No. Okay, so Blair and Zubin. Hello.
Hi there.
Hi, guys. Now, I wanted to ask whether you guys had any special memories of our European tour last year, because you were both on that tour, and we were talking about Warsaw Autumn earlier, which was many years prior, but we did happen to go to Europe twice last year, which is good that we got that in before this situation, because who knows when we'll next be able to go to Europe. And I know, Zubin, you live in Europe, so it's not maybe that special for you, but do you want to start off by talking about your memories?
Yeah, I mean, both trips were amazing. The first one was to Classical Next. So we went to Rotterdam, and that is always a sort of more strange kind of event because it's sort of more of a sort of showcase event. But then the actual tour later in the year was amazing. We went to Berlin, first of all, and that was collaborating with Ensemble Adapter from Berlin and Ice from New York. And yeah, that was, well, I think each ensemble had its own sort of different characteristics and different sort of national identity as well, and brought our own repertoire from our own countries. And then we collaborated on these big pieces by Natasha Anderson, Australian composer, and Zara Nemtsov, who is a local Berlin composer. Yeah, and they were all, yeah. I mean, Natasha's was a very cool piece, which we done at Sydney Festival, and Zara's piece was very weird, with like a solo harp part, and we were all playing like weird instruments we don't normally play. I was on a toy piano with a Casio keyboard.
And what did Jason play?
Jason was on some
what was it, a Megatron or something?
Megatron?
Yeah,
or?
ring modulator machine, yeah, some kind of, yeah.
I felt like a 10-year-old boy playing computer games again, which was fun.
Yes. And then going to Gaudiama's festival, which is like one of the biggest new music festivals in the world, was great. And then to play a whole lot of Australian repertoire there by, I think I've written it down, Holly Harrison, ended the program with that. 2 pieces by Kate Moore, and a couple of new pieces. Piece by Nick Morrish, who was a young British composer who was one of the composers in competition there. And by Ned McGowan, which was a cool piece with metronomes on arms and playing in different times. Yeah, so that was, yeah, amazing. And then to go to Splendor in Amsterdam as well, which was a venue run by musicians. It had a great vibe and great to visit Amsterdam as well.
And Blair, what were your highlights? I know you were on your way to London to pick out your new cello, so that was front of mind, but what else can you remember?
There was Gaudiamus was certainly front of mind too, because I think we played about 12 pieces, if not more.
Yeah.
So for me, one of the things that I found most special about it was that in my head, I had Gaudiamus Music Week as being one of the biggest festivals for new music in the world, of course, the utmost highest of quality. And here we are, we're going to this Australian group, we're at this. And I thought, this is amazing. We play at halls that are, compared to what we often do in Australia, quite big. But what struck me the most is that we were really as good as anyone there. I really felt super proud of what we've produced. And sometimes, being in Australia, it's easy to get the notion that it's better in Europe. It's just not true. It's better, it's as good as you make it. And this ensemble, to me, I cherish so much because of that. And I look back on those tours, and of course the Shanghai trip as well, to New Music Week in Shanghai with Ensemble Intercontemporain, thinking this is the best, this is amazing. And so I just like to wish everyone a happy birthday and thank you for that, because great memories are being made.
Awesome. And I note that Bree has now joined our Zoom meeting. Hello, Bree. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah. Hi, Bree.
Sorry, it's a bit
Claude
dark.
in bed?
What's that?
Is Claude in bed?
She is, but she might get up again. She tends to hear Zoom meetings like infrared hearing.
Yeah.
It pops
So
back out of
Bree,
bed.
welcome and happy 25th birthday.
Thanks.
We've been talking about our core musicians' kind of favourite memories of EO. So I know you did a beautiful memory video, but do you have one in particular that you just want to take us through? I know that I'm putting you on the spot. But you missed out on the joint one, sorry.
Oh, right, yeah. Favorite moment. I really loved the 20th birthday concert. I can't believe that was 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
But that was really fun. And being on opposite teams, we like a bit of friendly competition in the Andreessen Hocketing piece. Always good to divide into the A and B team. I love that I'm on Ensemble Offspring B team, and we kind of joke about that a lot.
We consider ourselves B team, don't we? We're not actually A team.
What's that?
We consider ourselves to be B team still, you and I.
Right, yeah. Yeah, still
Reserves.
striving.
Reserves. It's a bit of an in-house joke, yes.
And actually another really early one was the To the Max concert that we did at Carriageworks years and years ago. And I remember doing Cage's, I think it was 4/6 or one of those number pieces. And one of my favorite sounds that I developed in living memory for me was some helium balloons with some little bells attached to them. And one of my sounds in the John Cage piece was just to kind of tug on this string of helium bells that were of helium balloons that were floating way, way, way up in the ceiling of Carriageworks. And you would just hear this kind of faint tinkle of bells and this kind of amazing popping, you know, the sound of balloons just like giving each other a touch.
And you know, Bree, that was actually Cage Uncaged, I think. Roland's probably desperate to say that, but that was the Carriageworks kind of series that we did with Song Company.
Yeah.
When we did all that Cage. That was awesome. And I don't mean to stomp on you, on your turf, but I actually haven't done my own memory video. And the one memory which involves you and Jason that I would have chosen to talk about if I did a memory video was when we did Music de Table at Carriageworks. And that was part of a concert called Sounds Absurd. And we also did the big Cargill piece for two percussionists, two cellists and a percussionist. What's that even called? Match. Thanks, Jason. And that was a really full-on week. I remember I did Corporel in that concert as well, and I just had Poppy about 4 months prior, and I was breastfeeding. It was pretty full on. But Music de Table was like really, when I watch that video, I still think, how did we get it that good? That was the first time we'd ever played it, and it's a piece that relies on complete precision, and we played it a lot after that, but that video is awesome. Like, I'm really proud of it.
I could never do that one though, Bree.
Yeah, Bree was the best at the hand movement. You should watch the video if you haven't seen it. It's really, really cool. By Thierry Demey, a Belgian composer, and it's a piece for dancing hands. But before we move on, Bree, sorry, that was meant to be about you, but I didn't schedule in any time for me to say my memories.
We hear them all the time. We don't need to hear them.
You'll find time.
Do you have anything else before we move on that you'd like to say or remember?
I don't know. I mean, there's been so many fun times, and I really appreciate that you moved overseas right when I moved to Sydney, so I could take your gig in the band for a while.
Yeah, that worked out well.
But Bree, I was listening to your piece Light for the first time today, and I think that's a really beautiful thing with Offspring, that we often work, with you composers that are part of the group as well. I think that's with Damien and Matthew, the heritage there, but also with you being a composer as well, and I think that's an important element to
And the trust, this sort of innate trust that that everyone has with each other.
And maybe trying things out, you know, trying things out with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And having faith. I mean, I think that, you know, I mean, that's what I love about that performance and that piece, and in general, being able to write, knowing that everyone, that you trust them and you know that they're going to interpret it the right way, and you can keep the score super vague, which is one of my specialties.
Thanks, Bree. And Alexis, do you have any more chats to tell us about, or memories that people are writing down? Because I can't actually see them.
Yeah, we've got a few coming in. So first of all, a few apologies. So Carolo had to leave and he said, "Happy birthday, Offspring. I have to go to a family Zoom for children around the globe." So we'll forgive him that. John Davis had to go as well, but he said, "So sorry, everyone. I need to go set up another Zoom for female composers around the country coming up at 8. But so wonderful to see all these faces celebrating this milestone with EO. Congrats on reaching this and looking forward to more. Warm greetings to all." So that's very nice. We had Alex Posniak. "Thanks very much for including my piece in tonight. Very stoked to hear it as part of the celebration. Much love." What else have we got here? Janine wanted to say, "Go the B team. B equals brilliant." And that's about it for now. If anyone else wants to drop something in, please feel free. I also noticed that Lamorna and Claire, as you were talking about Damien Barbler, he appeared in the Zoom. So we now have...
Okay, well, Damien, you have to know we've talked about you a lot tonight. And I do have to acknowledge Liam Mulligan and Liz Jiggelin, who are also involved in Hibernation Festival, who I think are with us tonight too, and they're legends. Thank you, both of you. And thank you all the volunteers and amazing people who, especially students, as well as, of course, Alexis and Sophie, who have helped us out over the years, and even Amanda Cole, who did some cold calling to donors. Amazing. So look at Amanda's face. So we've had a lot of assistance over the years. It's amazing.
And of course, Janine and...
Of course, Janine and Kiri and Pauline and all our old staff who, yeah, obviously we wouldn't be where we are today without you guys. So just to keep it moving, we're going to play Damien's last memory video for the evening, because Damien's memory videos, I guess they cover a lot of ground, and we found them pretty beautiful. So here we go. If Alexis is ready, I don't know if she is though. Thank you.
Memory number 11, 2005. My memory here is going to go with a Sydney Film Festival gig, a live score by Elena Katz-Chernin to the silent German film mentioned Am Sonntag, or People on Sunday. Because I think there were screenings all day, we could only rehearse early in the morning out. Can you imagine trying to get 20-something musicians to a 7 a.m. rehearsal? Memory 12, 2006. Look, until this time we had been very much a score-based classical music ensemble, but we did manage to get Jim Denley as a mentor to run a bunch of improvisation workshops with the musicians. But our musicians were a little bit stuck without some kind of stimulus. I do remember this awkward silence, and then suddenly Claire's mobile rudely interrupted. But it provided the kernel that we were all after, and off and away we went, and I'd say the musicians are all now very astute and respected improvisers. Memory 13, 2007. I think one of my strongest memories of this year was Crippled Symmetry, a 90-minute, go-nowhere piece by Morton Feldman. Totally beautiful stuff. And there were audience who were there, who knew what they were in for, and they were blissed out on the floor. And then there was the audience that didn't know what they were in for. I think it's the only time I've ever been asked in my life where the musicians parked their cars so someone could go and slash their tyres. Memory 14, 2008. This was a very exciting year, but it was also the year that Claire and I were the parents of newborn babies. Things would never, ever be easy again. One scene that comes to my mind is Claire desperately feeding her baby, rushing onto stage at the Australian Centre for Moving Image in Melbourne for a performance of Waiting to Turn into Puzzles by composer David Young and filmmaker Louise Curran. There were many gigs like that in those years. Memory 15, 2009, Contactor, Stockhausen's Contactor. repeatedly nailed by Claire and Bernadette Balkus in a cross-genre billing with electronic music artist Pimen. That was really top gig. Memory 16, 2010. I remember a lot of broken glass that year, particularly in my own projects, Fractured Again, unsurprisingly with that title, which was a Sydney Festival project featuring musical instruments made of glass. I also remember that year missing my first ever Ensemble Offspring concert, as my wife went into labour while the musicians were busting out Andrews' Workers' Union during the first Sizzle event at the Petersham Bowling Club. Memory 17, 2011. A few things in this year. It could be being trapped in a Darwin casino during a cyclone, but probably our performance of Fausto Romatelli's Professor Bad Trip, all 3 lessons in Carriage Works. And this was psychedelic music that I simply can't forget, and to this day has to be one of the top gigs ever, I think. Memory 18, 2012. This one isn't a musical memory, but the immense feeling of relief in receiving notification of our first ever multi-year funding. It wasn't much, but it was something that enabled planning beyond a sort of gig-to-gig type thinking. But importantly, it was also morale boosting. I think after 17 years of busting our guts, here was material acknowledgement and a reason to keep on going. Memory 19, 2013. I think a strong memory of this year is the project Between the Keys, formerly known as Parcher's Bastards. Look, I just remember putting so much into this project. New tuning systems, commissioning new instruments, commissioning new works, reimagining existing works. We did crazy things like drive a van packed full of these instruments all through the night to get to Armidale to perform this program to an audience of like 5 people. I mean, we did have other gigs for that project, which is lucky, huh? And there's a recording, so do go check it out. Memory 20. I have a lot of hazy memories of this year. Making sound sculptures in a park and pretending to be council workers, playing the sculptures with leaf blowers in performance spaces microparks. Or for me personally, maybe riding John Rose's plectrophone, a bicycle cum power cord generating device in GAN tracks at Carriage Works.
Yay to that. Thank you, Damien, so much for those beautifully crafted memories. There's one more to come, which we would have launched today if our Facebook page hadn't been hacked by a Vietnamese clothing company on our 25th birthday. It was really bad timing, but you know, you get over things that don't matter. It's just Facebook. We're going to be fine.
What do you mean?
Anyway, so I don't know if Veronique Serre is with us yet, but she might be soon. No, I don't think she is. Okay, well, I think it's time now to charge your glasses, and while you find the champagne or water or whatever it is that we're going to do the very celebratory and good luck cheers toasting with, I'm just going to tell you about some upcoming Ensemble Offspring concerts, just in case you're in need of a new music injection. Lamont, did you want to? Sorry. So basically, we have our postponed Mesmerism concert, which is a Sydney Opera House digital. It's called From Our House to Yours. It's on the 31st of October. So that was meant to be in August, but we had a bit of a COVID mishap. So that has been postponed to the 31st of October. So you should diarise that for all those people around the world. You can all watch it live. And then we have Nara Buria, which is our First Peoples Composers Initiative. We have a concert, well, it's not ours, it's our collaborative First Peoples Composers Initiative with Mugalan and Australian Music Centre and Christopher Sainsbury and many other people on the 4th of November. And Chris was in fact recognised last night with a Luminary Award at the Art Music Awards. So because we couldn't congratulate him on Facebook, I'd just like to congratulate him now. because we're very proud of him and the program, and he's taught us so much, and he's a very inspirational and amazing human being and musician. And also we have our Hatched concerts, which are going ahead on the 14th and 18th of December. So we're going ahead with our Hatched Academy in December. Fingers crossed it all works out. And there will be 2 concerts that week. And then just also to remind you that we have Songbirds, we're pressing a physical CD, only a few copies, and you can still pre-order them on our Bandcamp site. So if you would like to, if you still listen to physical CDs or you just like the look of them and the feel of them, then please do order them. Now, let's just go around the room before we cheers and say thank you to all. Obviously, every single person who's on this Zoom call is important to us, and I see all the names and you're all amazing. I see Kate Lidbetter, our ex-first chair, who really made us who we are today. I see Henry Justo, our Hatched Academy artist last year, and our current one, Will Hanson and Maddie Hoare from the beginning, and just heaps of people. And I can't say all your names, but I wish I could, because there's about 70 people on this call. But I would like to acknowledge our musicians first and foremost, because they don't get acknowledged enough. They're contract workers at the end of the day, and when COVID hits, that means nothing, except it does, because we love playing together, and we will keep making this thing happen into the future. So I'd just like to acknowledge Lamorna, Jason, Blair, Zubin, Ben, Roland, Bree, Veronique if she's there, Freya if she's there, I don't know. And of course, all our donors, all our audience members, all our supporters, everyone who's helped with Noisy Egg commissions, all our composers who've written for us, our staff, our current staff, Alexis and Sophie, and farewelling Nick, our general manager, and Alexis, who we're farewelling tonight. She's amazing too, and we're going to miss her so much.
Pauline.
Yep, and Pauline and Janine and all our old administrators, and Damien and Matt and Roger and everyone, thank you so much. We couldn't obviously do it without all of you. That's why tonight was important. So let's make a cheers to the future of real live music making and memories to be made through music. Cheers. 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 Thank you. Cheers.
Bravo, Claire. Bravo, everybody.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you, Kate. Our board and Kate and everyone who's been on our board, thank you so much. Yeah, we wouldn't be where we are without all of you, and we really appreciate it so much. And oh my God, we've stuck to the schedule. I'm so excited. So we wanted to end tonight with our 2019 show reel, which some of you might have seen before, but for me, it brings back memories of that live concert experience, which we obviously can't do in the same way at the moment. And who would have thought when we were playing all these concerts last year that we would be where we are this year? But we're all still alive, and life is good on many levels. So let's watch the show reel.
Fantastic and vital for the community of composers Australia-wide. It would be great if Hatched grew to become a substantial and significant summer school in the international world of summer schools. Australia really needs this.
What do you know about a baby? It has big ears, has really long ears.
There is only one solitude, and it is vast and not easy to bear, and almost everyone has moments when they would happily exchange it.
Given that there are so few of these opportunities available, the kind of support that Ensemble Offspring is able to provide with something like this, and that they do so well, is really valuable for us as composers, and I'd say invaluable actually. I mean, you can't really find an experience like this.
The Hatched program is so valuable for Ensemble Offspring because it connects us to the network of emerging musicians, composers and performers in Australia. We would be nothing without a connection to those younger people, and they both inspire us, and hopefully we feel that we can really give something back to the next generation as well. So that certainly brings back memories and makes us a bit reflective about the current situation, not just us, I'm sure. It's a hard year, but we're all obviously doing the best we can, and that's all good. So before we wrap up tonight, I would just like to throw over to Alexis, who I think, and welcome Emily Granger. And I think Alexis has a few comments to read, because I think it's nice to end with you guys rather than us.
Absolutely. We've had so many lovely comments come in, so I'll just read out a few. Sorry if I don't get to everyone. From Kate Lidbetter, we have huge congratulations to all at EO. So proud to have been associated with the company over the years. You're all amazing, and I wish you another successful and happy and musical 25 years. Love, Kate. We have Robert McIntyre, who had to leave, but he was one of our Hatched Home Academy composers from this year, and he said it was so lovely to be invited and able to come to celebrate. Hatched Home Academy has been a highlight of this year for me, and everything EO is doing for emerging artists is so affirming. I'll go down a little bit. Janine Marshman, our old General Manager, hugest congratulations to all at EO, past and present. Congrats on 25 and looking forward to seeing the next 25. Then we have Stephen Adams, a very big happy birthday to the wonderful musicians of Ensemble Offspring, past and present. Here's to the future, indeed. And then from Damien, we have happy birthday EO, happy birthday Claire. Though I'm no longer in the fold, I just want to say congratulations to everyone who has and who continues to invest so much in this project. It's thrilling that the group continues to grow and thrive. I'm proud of you all. Keep up the amazing work, which is lovely. And then finally, I'll just end with the chair of our board, Liz. Sheer brilliance at its best, past, present and future Ensemble Offspringers. Congratulations on your silver anniversary, an amazing contribution to Australia's arts ecology. Well done all. So I think everyone is feeling the love tonight. That's so nice.
Yeah, well, thanks, Alexis. And just to end with, it's very sad that you're leaving us tonight. And I have to stop myself from crying because you've been amazing. Putting up with me first and foremost.
No, it's been my absolute pleasure. I've been at Ensemble Offspring now for 3 years, for people who don't know, and it's just to think how much I've learnt from you, Claire, from Lamorna and Jason, having worked with you so closely. I think that over the years, you know, I've grown from just a young, very shy student to someone who has to boss you around sometimes at a concert, who is bossed around a bit by all of you at different points. And I think there's been a lot of mutual bossing, and it's just been so lovely. And I'm leaving this organisation to focus on my own research, certainly, but I'm leaving behind such a rich, small business that is just, I know that you guys, being the flexible people that you are going to adapt to the future like absolute champions, and I will be at every concert that I can, so I can't wait to keep cheering you guys on, because having seen it from the inside, I believe in Ensemble Offspring and what you do so much, and having seen all of you, you know, Blair, Bree, everyone here work from behind the scenes, it just makes me, you know, enjoy so much more what you deliver in front of the scenes. So, you know, it's only upwards from here, and it's been such an honour.
Thanks, Alexis. Thank you so much. So thanks, everyone. Time to wrap it up. Take the balloons home, and we'll see you at a concert soon. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. It means the world. And bye, everyone. Thank you.